Welcome to the Shake Up Podcast. I'm your host and co-founder of Mr. Consistent, Jared Bell. This is a podcast where we invite friends of the brand into our studio. We get to know their story a little bit better. We chat all things business, culture and marketing, all while shaking up a few cocktails.
This week on the Shake Up Podcast, we have Kate Samson and Anna Hamilton. If you haven't heard these names before, Cedar Stone or Nectar Juice House might ring a bell. The sisterly duo have always sworn by the famous words of Richard Branson, say yes and then figure it out. By staying true to this, together, they've taken the world of business by storm. Kate and Anna talk us through the excitement of starting your own business, working together as sisters, auditioning for Shark Tank, and all the things they learn along the way. Aside from being successful businesswomen, these ladies are extremely relatable and have some absolute cracking stories to share. So let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Shake Up. Today's episode, we've got some very special guests in the studio with us today. Anna Hamilton, Kate Samson. Did I say them both right?
You did.
We did.
You did.
Welcome to the
Thank
studio.
you.
Thanks
for
so much for coming in.
us.
We've already had a cocktail. You've already had a cocktail before you get in here. Anna's had a shot of whiskey. Kate's eyes are watering. She's nervous.
Got a bit on.
Thanks so much for coming in, guys, because you guys have a really cool, I know your story. I've known Anna for a long time. We've partied lots together. Several times together. Kate, you're a little bit older, so I haven't seen you around the traps.
Just a tad.
I haven't seen you around the traps as much when Anna's been misbehaving. But you guys have a really cool story. You guys had Cedar Stone Botanicals for how long did you have?
7 years, I think.
So Cedar Stone, it was like you guys did like beauty products?
Yeah,
Am I right in saying that?
skincare, natural skincare.
Yeah. You've now got Nectar Juice House down in Cabarita. And Cedar Stone's got a pretty wild story and a wild growth story, so I want to get into that and chat. But how the bloody hell do you two know each other? I know how you know each other.
I guess, I don't know, maybe unfortunately for Kate. We're sisters.
Yeah, we're sisters. Yep.
Sisters.
We inhabited the same womb, I guess.
Born in
if you will.
Tasmania. Born on the Gold
Tweed
Coast.
heads,
Tweed
baby.
heads, baby.
Tweed breed.
The beautiful tweed heads. And you both, when did you move up to the Gold Coast?
I was 9.
9?
Yeah.
So I had 2 years here before.
We already said it. Tassie.
Winning. Probably the lowest socioeconomic.
Oh, can't say that. Our grandmother's listening.
Yeah. She still live in Tasmania? Shout out to Grandma.
It's a beautiful place.
Shout out to Grandma.
Good place for good people.
Were you guys close growing up?
No.
Or was like
No, there's like 12 years.
It's a fair bit
She
of
was
difference.
locking me in cupboards and stealing.
Tell the lunchbox story.
She stole my Tweety Bird lunchbox for a home makeup.
Every podcast she brings this up. Get over it.
I remember opening this Tweety Bird lunchbox. It was my favourite. And mind you, I'd just come out of being locked in a cupboard at my nan's house. And it had all this blue.
Not Nan.
Okay, not a blessed nun. And it had all this blue glitter eyeshadow and scarlet red lipstick all through it.
And then so you thought it was a good idea to go into business together?
Yeah. Several times.
Yeah, we've had our moments of thinking it's not a great idea.
Do you guys have separate roles? Like when you go into a business or you do things together, do you have like you handle that, or you kind of like you just
We do, but we don't sometimes. I think that's where like a lot of issues do
arise,
present themselves is because there is a bit of overlapping, and sometimes I don't know. Obviously, I'm in my partying prime. Kate's
she deals with the influencers. I deal with the computer stuff, basically.
Yeah. So I think if there's one piece of advice I can give to anyone starting out is to have clear defined roles.
Which we do not.
Even though you do not. And when you start a new business, you probably will not.
Yes, 100%. We will not learn from that piece of advice, but we do recommend it.
It's so cool. Like how long did it take, like when you had the Cedar and Stone idea came up, the Nectar Juice House idea came up, when those things arise, do you both just go full steam ahead, or does one lead or the other one be like, hurry the fuck up, get on board, or like how does that operate?
Kind of like we both go full tilt into everything.
Yeah.
I've noticed
fast.
that the Nectar Juice House came to fruition
very
very quickly.
Yeah.
We don't really think. Richard Branson is both of our, I guess, or like muse. And he says, say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah.
We very much do that. Probably I take it a bit too literal. definite yes mans, and then don't think about the consequences. But I mean, it's where our biggest things have kind of come
You don't know
out.
what the problems are till you get to it, right?
Yeah,
Like you
100%.
have all that. You go through this. You go, right. We're going to do a business. This is how we're going to do it. But the problems don't arise till the problems arise, and you
sure.
can't. You just have to say yes.
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest thing in business is that no one really knows what they're doing.
Absolutely not.
Even, you know, like even big corporate companies, they've like pretty much all learned through their mistakes.
Once you fix a mistake or you have that mistake, you know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
Generally
again,
speaking.
Unless
Unless you're on
and
a
you may
Hamilton.
never have to encounter that mistake again because you
Yeah.
fixed it. So
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think that's one thing we're learning here is like we're chatting off here. I was like, we're going like I've never owned a beverage manufacturing company. I've done marketing for companies before, but I've never made cocktail. I've never made a cocktail behind a bar before.
Yeah.
I've never
Really?
like before this business, I've never
Wow.
worked behind a bar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But my two business partners have, but they've also never designed a label
For
or
sure.
that, like that's kind of where the strength lies in having business
That's the
partners.
fun part too, I reckon. Learning new things.
Yeah, absolutely. I love learning new things.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that drives me
Yeah.
every day when I wake up. I'm like, fuck, my day is going to be so different to
Yeah.
yesterday's day, and I think that's why I don't know. Have you guys had like full-time jobs?
Yeah.
Not since I was like maybe 20,
Yeah.
and that was working for our dad. I don't think I've ever worked for anybody except for my dad.
Really?
Apart from like Bernie's, like that was like McDonald's back in our
Where
day.
was that in Mermaid? Like, you know that it's
Yeah, I
Oh
know
my
the one.
gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
good.
worked there, and then I worked for dad, and then I just had my own business since I was like 23.
See, I worked at Surf Stitch, Zimmerman, Billabong, like predominantly retail. So I guess I kind of had that background of how 9 to 5 works like that and what you need to pull from and what you need to do in order to make it work. But I mean, going out on your own and doing it is so much different as opposed to sitting at a desk every day and watching
Working through task lists and collecting your
exactly,
paycheck.
and going home and just having a wine and
Getting
that's
money
the end
back
of your
at tax time instead of
Exactly.
paying money at tax
Exactly.
time.
Yeah. Instead of having to worry about who's rocking up sick because they got on it the night before, like things like that, and you don't realize what. And it's only in the last 6 months that I've really taken a step back and thought, "Fuck, sorry" to every single one of my previous.
you don't have that work ethic
employers
until you have your own business. You
Yeah,
just don't.
and just being like, "Wow, I was kind of shit."
Feel exactly. I had
Like-
this boss that was, at the time, I thought he was absolute, like, I'm
Yeah,
not going to say it, but
You've said it.
P
like,
in the A.
like he was so hard on me.
Yeah,
But like I said to my wife the other day, we were driving into work, and I said to her, I was like, "Holy shit! I understand him. I understand where he's coming from now. Like when I wasn't
100%.
performing, or I was like my care factor wasn't there, or whatever it was. Like, and the way he drove and rode me
Yeah.
has turned me into who I am today and the drive that I
100%.
have now.
It's
For
like
sure.
having kids. You're
But at
like,
the time-
sorry, mum. And when you have a kid, you're like, sorry, dad. You don't know until then.
Yeah, you don't know until then. That
Yeah.
like that's literally that's the reason I have this drive and all these things to be able to go forth and
for sure.
Yeah.
And do you know what? They had the ability to just let you go. And I think that says something in itself, is that they saw something in you also
yeah.
that they kept you on, and they, wanted to. I look at some of our staff and
Yeah, you have to be lenient.
they're all incredible and they're all amazing. And I just, if they ever, make a mistake or do something that's, slightly out of character or whatever, I just go, I love these guys and I want them to succeed. So you've got to give them, like, I don't know.
Yeah, they've never had their own
we're
business.
a
You
terrible
gotta-
example like that
yeah.
because we're pretty lenient. We're
You
like,
give
whatever.
people enough rope to hang themselves and then fix their own
Yeah.
and drive them to fix their own problems
100%.
after they fuck up instead of fixing it for them.
For sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
And exactly like you said, how it just makes you, I look back at some of my hardest bosses, and at the time I was like, you're so shit. Now I look back and I'm like, wow, you are a pivotal, like,
Turning point in my
turning
life.
point in my life. I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's their livelihood.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
Do you think you'd go back now that you work for you both still have the Nectar Juice House? do you think you'd go back to work? Like if somebody came along and offered you a whopping paycheck just to,
No.
you couldn't go
Fuck,
back to
no.
working for
Well,
somebody?
Nah, I don't think I could. We were just talking about this the other day. I don't think I could ever work for anybody ever again.
Well, see, I was just having regret saying I was a shit employee because I was thinking, fuck, I might need a job one day. No, I don't think
They do a reference check. Anna Hamilton. So it should be a shit employee. We'll put that resume to the side.
Oh, that's where I'm good. No, I think like it would be, I would hate, I don't know, it depends. It depends. If I saw a really cool opportunity and we had sold up and we were just kind of cruising, for sure.
Yeah.
I would do it, but it would have to be something that was, it really interested me. I would never take a job now that I just took
For the
to get
paycheck.
paid.
Yeah. I think that's the fun part, like, right? You get to a point in your life where you're like, I really enjoy what I do and how I do it and all the things that I'm involved in. If the opportunity did present itself, then, and the ethos of the work environment, not like you can be very specific
For
in
sure.
what you want to do, or
Yeah.
you can be like you girls and just continue on and open another business, do another, like you've got ideas, you just keep the ideas flowing and
Yeah.
open businesses and keep
Yeah.
going.
It's kind of, we didn't like realize it was a thing to flip businesses essentially.
So much fun. This is my
So much
fourth.
fun.
Yeah, it's like
It's
it's
Is that why
mad.
you guys are? Oh, I probably shouldn't ask that.
No, you can ask. You can ask.
no,
Go.
but it's like
Is that what you're planning? Are you building it up to sell?
We have no idea. This,
Yeah.
the past three businesses I've had personally have been start, sell within the first one we sold in 3 years. The second one I sold in after a year. The third one I just closed because this started off and that it was a design agent. It was a
Startup's
design
so
and
fun. It's the
Yeah.
best bit.
the design and marketing agency. The other two were retail stores. This business for Jeremy is, I think, his third. He had like a hatted restaurant on Chevron Island, and then he started a
Amazing.
restaurant called Pigs and Pints. It was like down at Burleigh Heads
yeah,
there,
Yeah, remember
and he
that.
had one up north as well. I don't know what happened with those businesses. That was a fair time ago. But then his next business was the Collective in Palm Beach. Sold that. So
Crazy, hey?
and Mikey's never had a business. He's always been employed, but he's always worked in and around Jeremy. He's worked for Jeremy at the Collective, was a bars manager and stuff.
Yeah.
But this business is one of those things is like we're playing in an industry where, you know, CEB, there's very big players out there, and there's CEBs and Asahis and all these big beer companies and spirit companies, Diageo and South Trade, and all these huge businesses that seem to acquire little businesses like ours.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We're very new. We're not in a craft beer category like the Bolter story, or we're not in a hard fizz category, or like we're sitting in a very new category.
It's niche.
Yeah, it's very niche, and
super,
it's
super
very
niche.
uncharted in traditional liquor of a a perishable fresh juice product. It's just not common in the alcohol industry,
Yeah.
and that's why we've had good success in, I guess, like boutiques and stuff, because they're on like we're a trending product.
Yeah.
Currently, we're not mainstream. So yeah, to be honest with you, don't know.
See what
How
happens.
cool though.
See what happens. Like
Yeah.
and I've never been in a business where I've gone, oh, yep, in 3 years' time I want to be out. This business could be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. They're all
Yeah.
different things.
For sure.
All I know is we found a really cool product and a really cool niche, and we're doing really fun and cool things, and we will continue to do that.
Yeah.
And it puts food on the family for us as directors' tables. We've got 60 employees here. That's kind of,
Amazing.
yeah, like that's, but that's what drives me. Like it's not, like
Yeah.
I'm not looking for the $1 million in the bank account at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Oh, it'd be nice.
100%.
It'd be
like-
really nice. This is why it's so important to have these kind of conversations, because when we went to sell Cedar and Stone, we would tell people and people would go, oh, do we congratulate you? Or, and I feel like
Yeah, is that a good thing?
it is quite taboo to hear of, like, even just say you're selling a business when it's, it's like while it's hot, or whether you're selling a business because you're going into something else, or whether you're selling it, whatever reason it is. There's so many like stories, like things like that.
So many people sell a business or they get investors or whatever it is because they physically cannot get to the next level
100%.
without the cash in the bank.
For
Like
sure.
that is the one, like you talk to big stockers and big brands and 90-day payment terms, 120-day payment terms. Like
Yeah.
how do you, and I listened to a Young Henry story the other day, and was like I can't even remember who it was, but somebody had ordered 14 times before they paid an invoice. So they had to hold the credit for 14 orders.
We were a bit like that with our biggest retailer, with Cedar Stone. We had 60 or 90-day payment terms. I can't remember
Put your
now.
mic closer, Kate, too.
Sorry.
Go a bit more Barry White on them.
Sorry.
Shy,
yeah,
introvert, extrovert.
Obviously.
She called her Daria before we got on there.
Eyes are watering stuff, guys.
Darren Lockyer and Daria. Run the ball up, baby. Come on.
Yeah, we had 60 or 90-day payment terms, but they were ordering like $200,000 worth of stock every month. So by the time we got to that 90 days,
it's like it's just mental, and you cannot sustain that. And these big brands will do that to you, and you have to be so careful. There was time like you're so stoked at the numbers that they're throwing you, and you're trying to make things work, and sometimes you just need to go
pay for ingredients and stuff, right? Like,
we were in. So our dad built us a little you wouldn't even call it a warehouse. It's probably the same size as this, actually, to be fair. Like, what are we? We're in like 30 square meters or something.
At the back of his factory.
Yeah, and at the back of his factory, and Urban Outfitters had just got us. And we went from making 9 products like a week, if that. And we're thinking like when we started.
We're talking 9 individual units?
9 individual
like,
yeah, like 9,
we'd get
if we
9
got
face masks? Or
yeah, like we were selling at
we had 9
markets.
SKUs.
We had 9 SKUs.
9 SKUs, 9 of each.
But we were selling probably like 2 a week. I'm not like, we'd get an order, we'd be like, fuck yeah. Like, do that little Shopify.
When the Shopify ring goes
it's
off.
like, ding. And I still remember vividly was at, I think it was Collective actually. I was in Palmy and I was walking down the street and it went off, and I was with my partner at the time, and I was like, oh my gosh.
But even better when it's like a random person and not your best friend.
I was like, it's not mum. Oh my gosh.
So anyone that's trying to do e-commerce, get on Shopify. Purely, like, it's a great user experience.
The little adrenaline buzz
but
ring.
The cash register cha-ching,
Yeah.
and the sale goes through. You hear
Makes
it
you
through this
feel like
whole
you're
joint.
making
Like,
it.
Sometimes I set my alarm to it just to reminisce. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm just waking up to my Pablo
Shopify is the
lifestyle.
bomb, purely based on the ringtone we love.
But we went from doing, getting 2 orders a week. And like we said, it wasn't our mum, and we were just so stoked, to Urban Outfitters finding us from a hashtag on Instagram.
Is that how they found you?
We changed our Instagram. I was working at my dad's office at the time, and I was sitting at reception, clearly doing heaps of work, and was on Instagram. And Kate and I were just like, I don't
think I even knew what a hashtag was.
Yeah, it was like, pretty like, how old would you been at the time? Like, yeah, it was a long time ago. And we put the hashtag as clean beauty. Still remember, within, I think it was a day, not even, and Urban Outfitters had emailed us or replied to our contact us form. And I remember Kate calling me. Can't remember exactly how it panned out.
I think I was saying, who's Urban Outfitters?
But I started
Tell her the older one.
I started screaming. My dad thought something had happened to one of her kids, because I was like, I'm on the phone, like freaking out. And
Caught under a machine in the warehouse. With a forklift.
Probably would have been wishful thinking for that. Oh shit, Anna's stuck under the forklift, damn it. But
she's doing work.
And yeah, so it happened, and it was just, long story short, it was just madness from there. Basically linked up a Zoom with them. Next thing you know, we're doing 24,000 products a month. So going from 2 products a week, 9 SKUs, to 9 SKUs, 24,000 products a month. We made everything for like, up until we finished nearly, we made everything in Kate's thermo-mix.
Holy shit.
Thermo-mix. If you don't know what a thermo-mix is, it's like
It's this big.
size of a large soup saucepan that mashes potatoes for you.
I remember we were doing like 3,000 body scrubs and you could do 8 at a time in the thermo-mix. So it was literally just body scrub, body scrub, body scrub.
So our dad
end.
made us this thing, this contraption that looked similar to this podcast like microphone stick that had safety cones attached to the bottom of it that we could pour the product into the top of it and then pour it into the bag. Like, it was so cowboy what we were doing. Like,
fully bootstrapping the shit out
fully
of it.
bootstrapping. Like, we were running off the smell of an oily rag for a long while.
When Urban Outfitters, this will be like fun to get in because when somebody like that, where were we selling the product before? Just Shopify?
Village markets.
Oh yeah, that's where
Village
we're
Markets.
still at the Village.
Shout out to the Village Market.
Absolutely. That's where we they're one of the first markets we did. We do the Crumb and Palm Beach Farmers Markets, and we still do those, and we still do Village Markets.
They're such an amazing platform, especially for startups, continuing startup. Like if it wasn't for us having so much on the go, we would have stayed there.
I think we only ended up doing like 5 markets or something, and then Urban reached out,
and
so
we were just
stopped
too
it.
busy.
So many success stories out of that market, Borrowed Nursery started out there, and now she's
Love
like
the girls there.
she's one of our
Amazing.
biggest stockers. Like she's got their store in, up in Brizzy and the one here, and she stocks our product. So many cool success stories.
100%.
When you get an email, you do the deal. How the bloody hell do you afford ingredients and all the other things?
I think I might have been cashed up at the time.
Were you?
I thought you like remortgaged your home or something.
No,
I've been running with that story.
How the hell do you
I
start?
think I just used all of our savings.
Because Urban Outfitters aren't giving you a deposit on that order.
No, they're not giving you anything for like
if anything,
3
they're
months.
asking for a rebate.
Yeah, if you screw up one of the barcodes, they're charging 50 cents per barcode. Like,
if a
and
product
we screwed
packed
up a
upside
lot of
down, they're charging me.
barcodes. I mean, when you've got people like me on the other end of it, again, great employee.
People don't understand that it costs.
Oh my God, it's
if you fuck up your barcodes and the barcodes don't work, that you have to pay to relabel your product. That you pay them to relabel.
It's like portrait to landscape. That's how, if you stick it on, so just say the product is your hand and you stick the barcode on facing you as if you were reading it, but it's meant to go landscape. That's
just everything. Like if you've got to wrap your say there's a skincare product, you've got to wrap it up with 2 bits of bubble wrap. If you use one, you get charged. Like everything, you get charged.
Some of it we're like, come off it, mate. That's a bit much. Kate's like, well, you call them and tell them. I was like,
I don't make conversation. I just got the order in. That's crazy. Like people don't understand the detail that these big corporations come to it. But like, is that what you literally use all your savings just to drain your bank account?
I think so. We never got a loan or anything with Cedar Stone. So I think until we got investors later on, I think it was just our own money.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I was broke, so
must have been a good year for me that
It wasn't my money.
It definitely wasn't mine.
So your dad was paying you to do the Instagram, your own Instagram.
Literally.
Shout out, Dad. The whole employee thing's not really working out for you.
He knew that I was not doing any work.
Bludgeon. And so the idea behind Cedar and Stone, where did that come from? Like, where do you start? We go, we're going to do a... You fight like cats and dogs. You're a perfect older. You lock her in the cupboard. You steal a Tweety Bird lunchbox. At what point do you go, let's do a business, but it's going to be skincare?
I think I was just making stuff for my kids, because I did a naturopathy course.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was just making body wash, and Anna was like, we should bottle that shit.
And I cracked the shits one day at Dad's work, and I was like, I have had enough of this 9 to 5. And called Kate. I was like, we need to do something. And she's like, what about the products? And I was like, sweet, let's do it.
And then that was it. I think it was like Nectar. Like within 2 days, we had a business name, had everything registered, domains and everything, and it was just
you're a
from there.
Kate, you're a graphic designer as well, so you
like
a bit of branding, bit of all those
kind of things. Yeah, that's my favourite bit.
Second nature. That's the fun part for me at a startup, like designing a brand, putting it out there and labels and all that. Making people feel a certain way when they pick up a product.
Yeah, 100%.
Or make them buy a product.
Yeah, we just need a photographer in our little group because that would save heaps.
I can rent out my piece of meat over here, Tom.
Tommy boy, commune DJ.
I'm cheap as well, Anna.
I was going to say something, but I'll say it off air.
So you had a name, you had a product. It was going to be skincare. You started selling 9 units. 9 units a week or whatever it was to friends.
2 units, 9 SKUs.
9 SKUs, 2 units of each a week. And then you built the brand. And then what happened? Like, where'd you go from then? Like, obviously, Urban Outfitters scale up. Obviously, the money starts coming in from Urban Outfitters. You use that to start paying yourselves a wage or
We didn't.
invested?
No, we didn't
or-
pay. We
We-
put it all back in.
We did little like.
We would get
let's
like
just, you know,
kind of our
pay
own sort of
ourselves.
dividends.
You're still on
Yeah.
your dad's payroll at this
Yeah.
point?
110%.
You were working at
110%.
Billabong, I think, too, at the start.
No, at Surf Stitch. So
Yeah.
I moved. So I was working at Surf Stitch at the start, and then went back to Dad's. I don't know, one of the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I
think
still had a full-time wage.
And once we got into urban, I feel like people just used that to steal us, like for other brands. Like then we got into Forever 21 and did a collab with Tiger Lily, and it wasn't until maybe 2 years down the track or something we got investors on board.
Yeah, it's pretty random how they came in. Actually,
I want to know the full, like, because so many people don't know how to one, find investors.
Yeah.
How to even pitch to investors.
Yeah.
3, what is the piece of business that they take? What is the money that they give? What is the opportunity that they give? What do they offer?
We don't know any of that either because it came to our.
You're asking the wrong people. We were buying a juicer, and this is still when we were in our dad built us, that studio, whatever, warehouse, and we were buying a cold press juicer for our staff, and by our staff it was me, Kate,
and I think we wanted
girl.
to open a cafe eventually, and so we were like, we may as well get a commercial juicer so that if we open a cafe, we can use it in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
The juice rep came down.
Yeah, you go.
Oh, he came
My
down.
dad knock your voice a break for a minute.
to sell us a juicer, and as he was leaving, we were in our dad's little like makeshift factory out the back of his factory. He gets in his big Rangy and he's like, if you ever need any money, just let me know. And I'm like, you're a fucking juice rep. What do you mean?
No, Kate thought it was like a weird proposition at the start. Like she's like,
he was a
what
bit of
does
a
he want from
sleaze.
me?
Sorry,
Like-
Mel, if you're listening, but he still is.
and Kate was like,
Just offering cash for something else.
Kate
If you need cash on the side.
I don't
Kate
know
asked me,
what we
and I
thought.
was like,
We just sort of laughed and didn't think anything of it. Anyways, we'd already auditioned for Shark Tank
Oh, yeah.
and got through the first round, and we were ready to go for the second audition in.
Do you have the full pitch deck? Like, what was it? What was the?
I was ready to go ham.
We're going.
I was like, how now, brown cow? I was like in the mirror every night rehearsing. I was like, okay, we've got this.
And I think we were going to the second audition the next day, and the investor, the juicer guy, rung to check on the juicers and said, "What have you guys been up to?" We said, "Oh, we're going on Shark Tank tomorrow." Actually, he was like, "Don't. I'm coming down today, and I'm investing in you." And so we cancelled our
makeup appointment, hair appointment.
Yeah,
literally.
Literally,
Yeah.
Mecca in James Street. I still remember calling them and being like, sorry, I'm going to have to cancel. I was like, are we making the biggest decision,
that's
like,
right.
biggest regret of our life?
Yeah.
And then we cancelled everything and got state investors on board. And
Was it just a conversation, or was it like a pitch, or like
to the
investors, or just a conversation? Like
No,
they just
we
came
never
in
had
and-
to pitch. That's why
because
we
he came
can't.
to us, he just was like, I see. He could see, obviously, we're pumping out 24,000 products a month in this thermo-mix. Like, and there was 3 of us, and then we'd get Kate's kids in and make them just grind. Like, and he could see that obviously we were determined to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
this
think he
work.
always said from the start, he said he invests in people, not businesses. So I think at the start he might not have even asked for numbers or anything.
Yeah.
He just invests
Holy
in people.
shit. That's
Yeah.
crazy. No
Yeah.
profit and loss or nothing. He's just like,
I
you
don't think
guys
so.
are
I don't
doing
even know.
later
Did
on
we
down
even
the-
have like?
We
We didn't even know what a P&L was at that stage.
I don't even know if we had zero.
Is that like peas and I don't know?
Later
lemons?
on down the track when they invested more money, they obviously asked for, because
Yeah.
they knew us then, knew we were duds by then.
I've got so many more questions about this. So many fucking more questions about Cedar Stone and about this process. But let's make another drink. Do you want to, what are you going to make?
Oh, am I making it?
You're going to make it.
I'm happy to take the wheel and
On the
and
speed
make
test?
it on this. I don't know. I just yeah.
We're going to
drink
do the
enough.
speed test. It's how fast you can make a cocktail.
Okay.
What's to get her into the top 3?
I've got a couple of friends.
there
out
any-
there
Yeah,
that I wanna-
20.49.
22-16-3, and Bianca's 26-26.
I'm coming
She's
for you,
4.
Bianca.
26, 26.
I've
Is
got
that-
a couple of friends. I need to beat Tia as well. Do you want me to
T is
okay.
31-61, very
You're
achievable.
definitely beating Coco.
Coco, but
Coco.
I've got to get in there. I don't know. All right, I'm ready.
Anna's taking the reins here.
Taking the wheel.
There we go.
Are you gonna get covered over there, or what? Kate's gonna wear some Margie mix in a second. All right. 75 mils of Mr. Consistent
gonna
mix.
tell me when to go?
Yeah, we're gonna do 3, 2, 1, go. I'm gonna time it.
I'm a Sagittarius. I need like decisions.
Means absolutely nothing to me. Sagittarius, Leo, you can be a Cancer, whatever you want. So you're going to do 75 mils of the Mr. Consistent mix, which is all the way to the top, 45 mils of tequila, put some ice in, shake it 5 times, strain it out into the glass, put the fruit on top. Once the strain is finished and the fruit is on top, that is when the clock will stop. You can scull it if you want.
Okay, ready?
It's pretty up your alley. All right, we're going to go on 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, not now.
That was not real.
That's not it.
Can I do these in any? Oh no, you're gonna.
You can. No, you can do. Honestly, you can do this in any order. How
Put the liquid in this or that.
either or doesn't
Do
matter.
the silver.
Do the
Because
silver.
you're going to whack the lid on the top.
And you put the. Stop fucking giving her
Shouldn't have
tips.
told her. That would have been
Tip
so
one.
funny.
I really want someone to beat Belsy. Like, someone's got to beat
Tips.
Belsy.
No tips from the peanut gallery over there. All
Dark
right.
horse, Anna.
You
Let's
ready?
go, baby.
I'm ready.
All right.
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. 75. Oh, 45 mils.
Holy
45.
shit.
Second line down. Go, go, go. Boom. All right. 75 all the way to the top. Tip the bottle upside down, woman.
Not
You've got
fast
it.
enough.
Go, go, go. Tip, tip. Ice, 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 ice.
Oh, God, she's
There we
crumbled.
go, ice.
fucking
Shake it on
lost
top.
it.
Bang. Put it in. Put it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Take the top off. Crack it. There we go. Strain it. You got to strain it. Strain it. Strain it. Strain it. Strain it. And get the fruit out. Get the fruit out. Get the fruit out. Put the fruit out. Put the fruit on. Bang. 28:37.
Oh,
Yeah, baby. That's good. That's good.
You
No,
beat-
that's
need to
good.
beat Bianca.
No, that's all right.
That's all right. You beat Dimity, though.
28.
I'm sorry.
28.
Sorry.
So
Ah,
pretty,
20 seconds.
pretty-
You guys are hardcore.
pretty bloody clean
I've done
too.
that so much better.
You could
To,
have
to be honest, I'm a little disappointed in the speed.
Really?
Yeah, that was very slow. I feel like you were very hesitant for an Anna Hamilton.
I know. Look, I've really let myself down
Showed
there.
her true colours then
Yeah.
for a second.
Too much thinking.
God.
Not enough drinking.
Hey, respectable though.
What do we,
Yeah.
where does she end up on the
You'll end
board
up,
over there, Tommy?
you'll
5.
end up
Oh no,
6.
6.
Yeah.
That's
6.
all right. I'm happy with
Nah,
6.
that's shit.
Kate.
Come on, then, big chair.
All right.
Come on, big
I
dog.
reckon we get
Is that
Kate
a
on.
challenge?
That was
is.
a
Come on,
challenge.
That's a
Kate.
challenge. You're
That
on.
was a
Let's do it.
challenge.
Let's reset. Kate's going.
I don't
Reset it.
drink.
We're
I'm
on.
crossing your name off this one, and let's see where you get to. 30 seconds, I reckon.
Wait.
All right, we're gonna go on 3, 2, 1, go. No, not now.
There is actually nothing scarier than the 3, 2, 1 of you
All right,
doing that.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. She cheated. She started with the
I did not.
second line down.
did not.
Oh, she's got it everywhere. All the way to the top.
Tom said
All
it
the way
doesn't
to the
matter.
top.
It doesn't.
All the way to the top. There we go. All right.
Ice.
There's been a controversial, Anna.
This is
Oh,
fast.
this is
Here we
good.
go. Oh, no strain. No strain.
That's all right. Finish it. Put the garnish in.
It's on the rocks. It's on the
And
rocks.
just shove the fruit back in. The time is still going. Oh my God. 30 seconds, 78.
That couldn't have gone any better.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
I see. I told you I didn't know what to do with this
Better luck
thing.
next time.
You had her too, but you fucked up.
You would have done it.
You had her. You were.
pretty
You had it. You had it in the glass. You're putting it in the glass at like 20 seconds, 21 seconds or something. But you forgot to
Wait,
strain.
you would have got spewing.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Absolutely spewing. All right, now we've got through the speed test. Kate decided not to take your time,
So disappointed in
just went-
myself.
and then just went heaps slower.
But I didn't really.
Kind of sabotaged.
There's nothing more that I love in life when someone writes you off for something and then they do it like equally,
In a
if not
rematch,
worse.
I would
than
win.
you.
You know I would win in a rematch.
Fuck off.
You two are kidding. I want to go more into this, like the Cedar and Stone, like the investor thing. Like it's crazy to me that you guys, like somebody, I don't need to know how much the money was, but
Wasn't
like,
much.
yeah, but somebody was like, fuck, here's a bunch of money. I don't even need to see your profit and loss statements. Have your time again. Would you go a different route? Would you probably present profit and loss and then Like, is there things you
Probably
do
wouldn't
differently?
go investors again. To
Really?
be honest, nah.
Well, but yes and no. It's such a, I don't know, it's such a loaded question because it's like if we hadn't, then we wouldn't know
Yeah, it's
what
true.
we know now.
Yeah.
So you can't. I mean, it sounds cliche.
Yeah, but
and-
next time, like I'm not
next
saying
time,
I'd
yeah,
take
no.
away that. Next time, I wouldn't do it again.
if we were in the financial
I'd go and invest our business partner.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
wouldn't go like a silent investor again.
Yeah.
As such, I don't think that's just our personal
Is that just what?
experience.
Is that
though.
what they were? They were silent.
Well, they kind of started out not silent, and then they kind of went silent for reasons, different reasons.
which suited us though. We're the creatives behind it.
Yeah.
We didn't want
Somebody dictating what
we didn't-
products you put out and all
yeah.
those kind of things. Yeah.
we didn't
Which
want
they were
someone
never going to
dictating.
be. They were more. We're both creative, so we don't know anything about the books, tax,
Yep.
all that sort of stuff.
Literally could not even attempt to do my times tables in front of you right now. Like that would
But
be a
in
speed
saying
test.
that,
That would be a
though,
speed
in
test.
saying that though, one of the guys that was our kind of guy that looked after us within
Yeah.
that investment company, he's stayed with us throughout all of our businesses, and still to this day, he's a huge part of Nectar, our
Yeah.
current business. So I wouldn't take it away for anything.
No, yeah. But if we were
We'd
to
just do it
if
differently.
the question is, would we do it again
Mm.
differently? Yes, we wouldn't. We would have a different investor structure. Yeah, there's so many. If you
When
don't
people
know,
come and they throw money at you, you're like, when you guys were obviously, this is 7 years ago. This is a long time, so you don't have the information or the clarity to make a decision that you.
I
would
was
now.
21,
Yeah, like
like-
somebody's
Yeah.
coming in and throwing money. You're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
This guy wants to give us money and he doesn't
Yeah.
even want to see a profit and loss. I'll fucking take it.
Yeah,
I was
for
like,
sure.
that sounds like I could be going to like commune in like a few weeks with a pretty good pay pocket in the back in my pocket.
I'm buying all my friends'
so
drinks at the
yeah,
bar.
let's do it. But like, yeah, it's so. I don't know. It's always individual to the circumstance too. If you don't know much about investors, if you're a business and you're going into investors, I guess our advice would be investigate all the different types of investors there are. There's angel investors. There's, the investors that we had, which were like silent but not. There, you've got investors can be a means of having another business partner to come in and. There's so many things that are involved in it, and I think if we were doing it in another business, we would definitely research more, because it is, when you get a carrot dangled in front of you, it's so hard not to go out and just be like,
To jump.
I'm getting
Yeah.
it, like I want it. And there is a lot involved, and especially if you're looking at the business in terms of longevity, if it's something that you want to sell, just remember that having an investor, you can't just up and sell when you want. It's you're essentially giving, you're giving a part of it to someone else, and
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
also
your
dictate that.
decisions, everything. Yeah, because even though our investors were silent towards the end, when we went to sell, it was still, we had to jump a lot of hurdles to be able to sell.
Yeah. Especially with them, they're going to have questions. As soon as the money looks like it's starting to come back their way,
Yeah.
that's when they're like, oh, I want this, I want that.
100%. They are sharks.
took a
Shark
long
Tank,
time, yeah.
Sharks. You are, you're a pawn on the chessboard. You are a literal fish. Like, you're bait, and they're going to, it was easy for us to think that, oh, they've got our best interests at heart. No,
got
they
their own.
don't. They've got their own. And to be completely honest, everyone has their own interests at heart.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if you you can say that you're a philanthropist or you're a good person or whatever, and I don't doubt that that's true, but at the end of the day, there is always some portion of that is going to relay back to your
Well-being.
well-being and
That's
your
our
benefit.
experience, though. I mean, I've heard
Yeah.
of people that have got investors and it's amazing, perfect, rosy, everything's fine. But
Just make
Do
sure that
research.
those
Do
and
research.
make sure all your I always am a bit dyslexic. Dot
What do
your
you
I's and
cross?
cross your T's.
cross a T, you don't cross an I.
Make sure that they're all
Swoop your J's.
make sure that that's all in place, because at the end of the day, contracts, and that's something that we have learnt several times, contracts are, they are
They're the key.
110%.
It's cool you share that story, because lots of people would just jump at, and like, you just jump at money at a young age, or you just started a business and cash flow is a problem or whatever it is. People will jump at money, and that's where, investors do swallow people up, and they take. we'll take part of your business for 55%, and then you lose full control. They might be silent, but they know they're investing in the person.
Yeah.
And they know this person, by the looks of it, it's going to grow this business and it's going to be huge. And then when they sell, they just walk in, take the cash and walk back out.
Our investors still to this day have always said to us, check with your bank first. If you can get a bank loan, go with a bank loan. They're not going to own any of your business. When it's time to sell, you don't have to hand over 50%.
It's important to note what you just said, like 55%. Like, for me being 21 going into a business, I was like, 55%. Like that. You need to understand what that means. Like that 5% extra means you don't have control over majority of if they're majority shareholders, they're taking, taking away your decisions. And at the end of the day, that's your baby, that's your business. You need to be so careful with that.
If that's how you're putting food on the table.
For sure,
you need to,
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's how we came to the decision of selling it actually. We it just didn't feel like our baby anymore because we had other people on board and
making other decisions.
Yeah.
And because Cedar Stone's about to be rolled out through Coles or Woolies.
Coles, the new owner has got it into Coles. That was his aim.
So stoked for them.
Did you guys start that process before
No,
you started?
We never wanted to go there. We went with TJX, which is in Australia and America.
Yep.
They're kind of discount. They're pretty high up in the retail chain.
Trade, if you remember Trade Secret.
Yeah.
So TJX is essentially
TJ Maxx overseas or something.
Yeah, so TJ Maxx is the trade name for the stores, correct? And then
they've got heaps
TJX
in
is
America.
the biggest retailer group in the world.
Marshalls, I think they're the biggest or the second biggest retail group in the world. So that's why we kind of went with them. That they sort of take excess stock and end of season stock, which is why we went with them. We felt if we went with Coles or Woolies, we'd have to give them current stock, and that's not where we wanted the brand to go.
Yep.
But the guy that bought Cedar and Stone, that was his aim. So I'm really stoked. It's only been 2 months or something, and he's rolling out next month to every shopping.
That's really pretty cool. Walking down an aisle and being like,
yeah. I'm really proud of Coles for doing it because our skincare is so natural. I'm just like it's way more natural than anything else that Coles stock. So I think good on them. Yeah, they haven't changed too much.
It was that moment when we found out. I was in the Whitsundays and Kate messaged me and was like, Cedar and Stone is rolling out in all the Coles. And I had this moment, to be completely honest, and this is something that you navigate through when all these things happen, but I got a pit in my stomach and I was like, like it's not ours anymore. And then as we spoke about it, I was like, actually, how cool is that I'll be walking down Coles one day and see Cedar and Stone, next to brands akin to like Sukin and Natio and all these things. And that was ours.
All these things that are like, there's a point of, early adopters and like there's so far that like brand and Instagram and all these places can get you, and you can get to a really nice point where it's still feels boutique but in the natural world of business and brands, the brand still needs to grow, and that's kind of a natural progress of it has to become a little bit mainstream, and they're the kind of people that offer, cool brands to come into mainstream and turn it
100%.
Especially in Australia, we're kind of limited with how big you can grow in the boutique world.
And you're giving like the other thing is all these Australian brands that are in the Coles and Woolies and all these sectors, they're all Australians. Like most of them are like there's lots of brands that are Australian made in Australia. They employ Australians. All of Coles and Woolies employ Australians to work in the stores. It's not say like a Telstra or somebody who offshores 100%. A whole heap of call centers and all those kind of things. They are Australian. They just have a market shareholder, and it's a natural progression
100%.
for brands to go into those places to get wider distribution of their product and get more people using their products. And
and that's exactly right.
Natural product, more people have access to it. How cool.
Which was and if you go back to the very first question you asked, what made us want to start Cedar and Stone, something that we didn't touch on and something that was such a strong our ethos, and it was such a strong point that we used to speak about a lot, was the fact that we used to hate going into natural stores or Woolworths or Coles, etc. Something saying it was greenwash, and saying it was natural, and then you look at the back and it's full of all these parabens and words that you can't even pronounce. Like, how do you say that? Phenolics and whatever.
Yeah,
I always
we've
try
never
and say it. I always try and say
Or
it.
chemical words that have like a chemical makeup, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
And that was a part of the reason that we started Cedar and Stone, was to try and
make alternative mainstream.
And whether it's us or someone else doing it, at the end of the day, we're just so proud that a brand that we made from the ground up, we've, you know, spent for the most part, 7-8 years, it's so insane
heart and
knowing
soul
that this
into
is going to
something.
be nationwide Australian rollout.
pretty
And
fucking cool.
we're so proud of the new owners as well, and we're proud of
Yeah,
ourselves.
he did that really fast.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Most people just have that connection, you know, like they
Yeah.
don't have a connection, they know how to do it. But that's honestly, congratulations. That's so
Thank
cool.
you.
That's literally that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like that's what we want to do, is we want people to drink good cocktails, fresh ingredients. Like we don't want people to be drinking cordials that
100%.
currently out there and exist, or like our limes and our lemons and everything that we do comes from a co-op of farmers out the back of Mandubra, which is like 5 hours out of bloody Harvey Bay or somewhere, and like it's Australian farmers, and it's fruit that can't go to Coles and Woolies because it's not the perfect size or doesn't look perfect or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's actually really good juice inside the fruit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's kind of inspiring to hear your story.
And congrats to you guys too. I mean, it's epic to see local Australian brands doing
so many cool stories, and that's why we started the podcast, because there's so many cool stories out there that nobody knows the
100%.
backstory or how to get started or even have a go. You know?
And just the failures, even what we were talking about before. I think it's so, and I know it sounds bad.
Oh, fuck.
I know it sounds bad. It's like when someone's, this is very selfish of me to say, and don't judge me by this, but
Jesus, here she goes.
no, but it's like when you're going through a breakup or something and you hear that like this sounds really bad actually. Now that I'm
Could
about
you
to voice
stop?
it. No, but when you hear
Nah,
someone
go for
else's
it.
story,
Talking to your microphone.
when you hear someone, had a couple of margies, sorry. When you hear someone else's story and you're like, oh, it's nice to be able to relate to someone. Like, you're not ever happy that someone is going through the same thing. That's not what I mean.
That's
but
not bad. You have my palms sweaty for a
no,
sec.
no, look, I'm a bit older
Do you
now.
ever have to
I'm
like,
not sure.
do you ever have to, this has happened to us a couple of times, but have you ever got to a point where you made a product and you made all this batch and you're like, oh fuck, it's not good enough, or I fucked it up, or I've done something wrong, and next minute
heaps of
you've
times.
either got to redo it or tip it out or start
You've got
again,
that
or-
moral conundrum. Do I just put it out? or do we just hope no one notices?
With bath salts, it's like you could do that. Like, obviously, for you guys, it's a bit different.
Yeah,
like,
yours
We
is
are, like-
consumable.
ingestibles
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
consumables is
No,
different.
I think
We've-
ingestibles
but
is
it-
the right word.
Like we've had parts where like we've like our margarita mix, we've made 500 bottles of margarita mix, and we've weighed the ingredients slightly wrong, but the slight weight of that ingredient, the key ingredient that goes into it, so it could be like the sugar syrup or you know, the orange oils and all the bits and pieces that we put into those bottles. Like, if one ingredient's slightly out, you know, like we notice a difference.
Everyone knows.
If we notice, then everyone's going to notice
100%.
Yeah.
difference. Sorry.
We like our bath salts, for example. It was nothing ever like too bad, but it would just be one oil or something, and you'd be like, I could probably get away with this being a different formulation, but it comes down to obviously, you know, brand integrity and things like that, and that's literally $20,000 worth of stock.
We've done it
Yeah,
a couple of times where we're like,
Yeah.
we can't put this out, and we've remade the product and rebalanced it and whatever it is, but it doesn't have the same shelf life. And we did
yeah.
like a charity, like we did a charity sale early on.
Yeah.
We had so many fuck ups.
Oh, at the time it feels like the worst thing, but then a week or 2 weeks down the track, it's just like, eh.
Yeah, you move on.
Yeah,
But
you just move on.
in the beginning, we were having a sign writer, like the guy that printed this, like a sign writer printing big sheets of stickers and hand labeling the things. And I was like, this can't sustain. Surely we need a labeling machine. Now we hand label everything, but it comes on a label roll. So it's still manual, but like
Yeah.
it's all those things where
We had all the exact same, like we
Yeah.
were hand labeling those 24,000
Fucking
products a
years.
month for years.
We
like,
still only ended with a manual.
manual.
we use the hand
Yeah,
labeler
yeah,
currently.
that's what.
10,000 bottles a
Oh, we
week.
could have
Somebody
sold you ours,
stands
mate.
there, and then we hand barcode them. They get hand capped, like the
Yeah.
hand capping
Same.
machine.
Yeah,
like
that's
people
And
what
do.
then
we're
we
doing until the
learnt
end.
about the new foilings. There's
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
foiling thing, and then like I swear every time I did it, it emitted like something in like the laser or something that my wire from my braces would like. I was just, there's so many different things that people don't understand what goes into the production line.
Yeah, the labor intensive.
And I think it's only until you do it yourself and you're just like, oh man, like, you just get it. There's so much involved and there's so much room for failure, and you don't like not failure, but so much room for
barcodes the wrong way.
Exactly.
Not 2 bits of bubble wrap. Yeah.
And then you guys obviously slowly transitioned into having Nectar Juice House, which is a.
It wasn't that slow,
wasn't
actually.
slow
Did you just go fuck it?
We were just driving through.
Because the cold pressed juice machine that your investor had sold you finally was going to come to fruition. That was like, fuck, we need to use this
I didn't
thing.
even know we got it because we were going to make but I mean, I thought we were just juicing almonds in it. I didn't even know that was a thing. You can make almond milk in cold pressed juices, believe it or not.
There you go.
No, we lived down on the Tweed Coast and we were just driving past and there was a shop for rent.
We were coming back from Comma getting a massage, and we get these, like, it's weird. Like, as much as we're not the same people, like, actually polar opposite, generally tend to hate each other. Hate's a strong word, but
that's a pretty fucking strong word.
Disagree.
No, we hate each other.
But hate and love fall in the same category. And then we were just coming back from a massage, and I know when I get spidey senses, she's getting them too. And we said something like, we were going to get something healthy, and
Kate is not the spot to stop to get something healthy.
And we're like, no ways. Like, Goldie,
you can't even get a juice in Cabo. We're like, where the fuck can we go for a juice? There's nowhere. And there was just that shop for rent. We were like,
and then spidey senses, and we're all like, and our eyes just looked at each other. We're like, no, we're not ready to do this.
If you're ever in Cabaret, to go to Nectar, because it is heaving.
Yeah.
And the sandwiches are banging.
The sandwiches are also heaving. It's a double chin at the moment. Did try and get Tom to set me up with a better side angle.
Better filter.
And a mask. Yeah, can we put a filter on there?
But like that was an opportunity. I've spent so long, like so much of my childhood growing up Cabaret. It was only Froggy's fish and chip shop that used to be on the front there, and then it disappeared. And there's nowhere, like Halcyon popped up, which is like the really cool, really cool resort.
We're like down here.
Yeah, bowl of chips and a Aperol Spritz will set you back $55.
Thanks.
But beautiful. But that brought a lot of interest to the town. Like the town all of a sudden had and there's lots of really nice houses on the beach, but then there was nothing else besides those two venues, like old school Thai cafes, old school restaurants and cafes. Not even, and finally a Woolies came to town. Everyone was like, don't let Woolies into town.
Yeah, well, Nectar used to be the last. Nectar was originally the
grocery
supermarket.
store.
Yeah.
Before, I think it was the chicken and what was it? Chicken or fish and chip shop,
and then that was a cheap shop, and then
but I think we had the lease, or we started the lease process before we even knew what we were going to open. We were like, should we open another Cedar and Stone? Should we do this? Should we do that? And then we're like, juice bar,
which again goes back to the say yes and figure it out later. We quite literally got a space.
You signed the lease before you even knew what you were going to do.
We didn't sign the lease because we had to.
Crazy.
We were fighting for that space with a different cafe called Proud Mary's or something. They wanted that space as well, so we had to show them like a mock up. But we started the process before we were a juice bar.
That's pretty cool.
And then I think it was like 40 days later and we opened.
I was the skinniest I've ever been.
Didn't you tile the bench?
Yeah,
we had to do everything because it was just a bare shell. We didn't even have power or water in there.
Yeah, shout out my ex-partner Jaden. He is
I know Jaden.
He did everything. He's like made it so amazing. But we got in there and did as much as we possibly could. And did the tiling. So if you ever go in, it looks real shonky. We even wrote on one of the tiles.
Little secret doors that you push.
We wrote secret door because it's like. And so it looks like if you push it, you're just going to be in like a speakeasy bar in New York. But no.
They also sell Mr. Consistent, so you can buy it.
Yes, we do.
Shout out.
If we're not drinking at all, sometimes it gets a bit low.
But that was an opportunity. You saw it, you went for it, and it, like, honestly, from the outside looking in, it looks like it's paid off. It looks like it's got a very loyal following. You guys obviously have somebody in there doing coffee Because you guys don't do the coffee sandwiches.
No, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So we have like everything now, and we basically have a team of 23, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
Wow.
more or less.
7 days a week.
Yeah, which is quite a bit for a cafe, but because there's so many moving parts, there's so many facets to Nectar. There's the fresh juice, there's fresh smoothies, there's the DIY sandwiches. So it's essentially like a gourmet Subway.
Yeah.
Then you've got the coffee aspect.
Pulled jackfruit.
You need pause. Yeah.
Delish.
I know. There's so many moving parts to it, and we've nutted it out as much as we could to, I guess, do have as little staff as we can, because obviously you need to keep on top of your overheads. It's hard.
Yeah.
But when you've got so many fresh things like that, it's a constant.
I remember on
Push, pull,
Instagram
push,
for the
pull.
longest period of time, you're like, we need staff. Anyone want to come work a casual day?
We would get
or
staff
like,
in, be like, have you ever made a juice? Nah, can you make a juice? Yeah, okay, you're hired. For that.
I was the
it was literally
skinniest
just
I have
us.
ever been. Like, it was
just
the
didn't know it
best
was
thing
gonna be
ever.
like
busy.
photos of you both like laying on the
Yeah.
floor
Yeah,
after like
yeah.
a 9-hour day.
And
We had
or a
no
12-hour
idea.
day,
We did
whatever it
not
was.
do forward thinking at all.
That was
like
not
after the first
staged
day, I
either.
was like, holy shit, we're going to do this again tomorrow.
That wasn't staged. That photo of me that you're remembering, I looked back at that the other day. Not only was I absolutely looking fab because I was so stressed, I was just down on the ground, and genuinely one of the girls had taken a photo, and we thought when we opened, we're like, is anyone even going to come? Are we going to be able to pay our rent?
We were thinking we'll do if we just need 20 sandwiches a week and 15 juices to make the rent, and then we'll be sweet. So
Wow.
we just weren't set up.
Yeah.
We've just
at
turned.
all.
I looked at.
I
the
feel sorry
sandwich-
for the people that came the first day. They probably never come back.
I looked at the sandwich count the other day, and it was like,
Yeah, I don't even know.
it'd be so interesting to tell you.
I want to know. That'd be so
Yeah,
cool. Pull it up. 'Cause and you guys have never owned a restaurant or a cafe before.
Nah, not
First
since
time.
Bernie's. Worked
Not
in
since
Bernie's.
I
All
worked at
that
McDonald's for my first job. I used to give all the hot boys free cheeseburgers.
It's like I didn't get one.
She said hi.
not that I needed free cheeseburger.
Which I don't know if it works in our favour or not being in hospo, because our staff have become like our family, really.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably not as hard on them as what we could be, because
Yeah,
We're-
Nectar, if you're
we're
listening.
literally
Pull
are
your
like
game
a
up.
family.
They're the best.
Hospitality
Like
is
hospo people would
different.
come in and go, you guys are fucking doing it all wrong. but we gotta love it.
Honestly, from work, I never worked in Jeremy's other business, but I was in and around. But hospo, we have so many ex-hospo people working in this business. Like probably no joke, 80% of the people that work in this business have come from restaurant or bar background. There's not a lot of people that have come from an actual like a sales background or a Kirsten worked at the Collective.
Yeah,
She was like the host. Kirsten, who manages the podcast and the guests and all those kind of stuff. But her background is in hosting people at the Collective and walking to their table and making sure they have a good experience and a good time. So many of those people now work in this business.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different environment. Like I've worked in corporate business and it's fucking stiff as all shit.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. You gotta be something fucking weird to work in hospo. Hey, really? It's like
legit. It's pretty
I remember a couple of days after we opened, and you were like, "I get why hospo people are crazy now."
But they,
Yeah.
You just
but
have
they-
to be
but
because
they,
it's intense.
Mikey always talks to me about they would end their shift and they always have drinks.
Yeah.
But the reason they have drinks is to debrief on how they're let all their frustrations out, because they have customers that are dicks to them during the day. They have customers that are really nice to them during the day. All these people, and 99% of the time you're trying to customer service, you're people pleasing.
You got to be on.
You just you have to be on, and then they get to the point where they're like, "Fuck, can you believe this?"
Yeah.
I got hit
Oh,
over the
bloke.
back of the legs with a cane.
Yeah.
The first
Stop
week
it.
we opened.
That was the best.
And I'm an overly, I'm quite I'm not an overly sensitive person. I'm just a very heightened person. So my emotions are I'm a people pleaser.
Is there security footage of this?
Oh,
No, we didn't have cameras set up at the time. Trust me, it was
That
probably
might have been what made us get security cameras.
So she walks in. This lady walks in, and our systems. Another thing is like your systems don't always perform, and they failed that day.
Everything's internet driven.
Yeah, like, mate, don't even start me on the internet. My eye is twitching right now. And so our internet went down. We didn't have 3-phase at this point. So when a blender went on, at the same time as another blender in the toaster, it shorted everything. And so I'm
somebody out the back.
Yeah. Literally, you're like yelling out. You're like, Jack, turn the blender off. The front, you've got like a line out the door. And at this point, we had lines out the door. And it was we opened in July last year.
It was COVID too. I remember.
It was right in the thick
Kate
of it.
didn't know who I was, and she was like, "Can you just fucking wait outside?" And you're like,
"Oh, we've come full circle. Turns out you got to go outside."
I'm there straighten up mixes and shit. She's like, "Can you just fucking wait outside? Too many people in here or some shit."
I bet I didn't say fucking though.
That sounds right.
I'm waiting outside. I was like, "Yeah, right."
Well, so we had a line out the door. Anyway, the systems failed. Long story short, she comes up to the counter and says that she's been waiting an hour for her food. And my first thought was like, why would you wait that long anyway for a fresh sanger?
Yeah.
Wasn't going to say it. Second thought was, okay, how do I fix this? So I give her her money back. It's all good. Anyway, next minute, she's gone. She's come back and she's talking to my head barista, and he always jokes around with me. And he was like, hey, Anna, like someone crazy wants you. And I was like, I'm like, what? Looking over, I was like laughing. Anyway, I see her and she is steaming, like actually freight trains coming out of her head. She looked like Thomas the Tank Engine. I was like, oh my goodness me, how do I do this? I was like, sweet, I'm a people person, I've got it. Get out there. And she loses it at me, for lack of better words to what she said to me, gets her cane and slaps me over the, you know how you've got like the back of your legs where people hit you when you're younger and drop you?
Yeah.
Gets me square fair in there. I drop to the floor, absolutely like totally mortified. And
shock.
Yeah. In shock. And
Pure shock.
she just starts losing it, and I basically just tell her that she needs to go to the bakery across the road and get herself a sausage roll, and politely told her
there's certain
to
times where the customer's not right.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Wowee, that's heavy.
And
Somebody
my
whacked her.
auntie happened to be in there at the same time, and she
was a witness to it all.
She was a witness, but the lady went up to my auntie and was losing it at her about me, and my auntie was just sitting there, just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's why hospitality people need after drinks to debrief on those kind of things.
Yeah.
So they can vent their frustration, so they come in the next day.
Also to lose it laughing, because that was probably the best story that was ever going around
That is
Cabba.
a ripper story.
Yeah, it was.
Has she come back
that
in?
feeling of knowing
Her
you've
friend
got to go back the next day.
Her friend came in and I recognized her friend, and I said, she goes, oh, we've been in here before and it wasn't a good experience. And I looked at her and I go, oh, yeah, no, I know. Your friend hit me over the back of the legs with a cane. That was a really nice day. And she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I must have been out the front. And anyway, she was,
That's so crazy.
There's been a few. Most of the time it's all right. We get a lot of locals, like a lot of regulars.
It's such a cool, it was begging for a really good coffee shop, and her, I know Nick opened Tucker down the road, and he's had good success because
and so
it's
amazing.
Purely based on offering that area something that it didn't have that it really, really needed. So congratulations. That's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Thanks.
I love it. Honestly.
And we're stock Mr. Consistent. So
honestly, that pulled jackfruit sandwich I have on the other day. So Tommy always goes on dates down there.
Oh, does he?
A little Cabba Beach day, a little Nectar
Gold
coffee
Coast
on the
people
way.
think
Not
we're so
with
far
me.
away.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to go on a road trip to Nectar. We're like, guys, it's fucking 15 minutes.
Didn't I pay you enough last time, Tommy?
Nah, not enough. Come back.
Yeah, it's so crazy. All right, we're going to play this little card game, the Never Have I Ever. I don't know your background, but I know your background.
Yeah, stitch me up. It's called the shake up, not the stitch up.
You're a loose cannon in your day. Probably still are, actually. You're just
in
telling
your
me
day.
Tried to order a kebab at a Thai shop last weekend. At what time of the night, I don't know. Morning, whatever
Definitely a questionable time of the night.
But we're going to play this card game and we're going to have a quick break and we'll come back.
This episode is sponsored by our production team. They're working around the clock using the freshest ingredients to make our delicious cocktail mixes for you guys to enjoy. Now back to the episode.
Our card game. The Shake Up card game. Never Have I Ever pack.
Oh.
I think we sent you a bunch of questions to read through and have a bit of a squizzeroo.
Could answer every single one of them.
Got an answer for everything you do.
Could
Card
go
game
either way.
should be out by the time this podcast comes out. I'm hoping it should be out. 82 cards, 83 cards, Kirsten. How many cards we got? 82 cards in it. Comes in a little cute magnet pack. Never have I ever. Get on the drink. Get on the Mr. Consistent drink. Get boozy.
It's good quality.
And,
Yeah, that's
nice.
and ask some weird questions, which I'm going to do to you two right now.
Huh?
Who wants to go first?
You go.
Okay.
You can choose. Out of 4. Because I know you. That's the one.
Never, am I reading it?
Yeah.
Never have I ever cheated death. Ooh. I have twice, actually. Probably
reckon it's way
every
more
weekend.
times.
Every weekend. I'll do the boat story. I have a plane story and a boat story, but the plane one's a bit whatever.
Is it just turbulence on the plane?
Pretty much.
100% it is if it's the one I'm
so
thinking
afraid
about.
of flying. No, it was in China. The wheels didn't come down, but but I'm here. No, I was on a boat. It probably would have been maybe like a 35 foot or like 40 foot.
Pretty big.
Yeah, like a big enough. It was like he lived on it. So my friend's
Medium-sized boat.
charter boat. So my friend's uncle lived on it. And he took us out for a week at Lady Musgrave, which is like if you come past 1770 at Bundaberg and then you keep going north, I believe. I can't really remember. It was literally 11 years ago. It was on New Year's.
Pretty far up north.
Yeah, it's far north Queensland. Anyway, we went out there. We had the week. It was amazing. We were just sunbaking every day, snorkeling, and then on our way back home, so you have to go through a place which is 1770, which I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's pretty.
I don't know heaps about it. I know friends go fishing there lots because it's good fishing. It's deep, super deep water,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's like, again, it's super vague for me, like around the area because it was so long ago, but it can be quite treacherous if you don't get it on the right tides and things like that and whatever. And, or the right weather conditions, I should say. And anyway, we were coming back from Lady Musgrave and we were somewhere off 1770 and my friend and I were sunbaking on the top sun deck and we got I guess they get like, updates or whatever, that there was a really strong weather warning coming through. Next minute I know we were in, I think it was like 20-foot swell not breaking. So fucking huge. Like if you...
No, thank you.
Yeah, not ideal. But when you're on a boat, like I've worked on boats before, when you're on a boat like that's big enough, it's horrible, but you don't feel too bad. Like anyway, for me, I didn't feel too bad at the time. Anyway, where it starts raining and I remember slightly waking up because it started raining on us. Next minute, it was probably about 10 minutes from that moment, the boat started taking on water. I don't exactly know what happened to the boat, but basically the boat started taking on water and we had about 5 minutes to get off. 7 of us in a 5-man tinny. Or there was 8 of us in a 5-man tinny.
Like a rubber dinghy thing?
No, it was an aluminium tinny, but still like nothing that would have been suitable in 20-foot swell.
20 foot from a 40-foot yacht to a 2-foot tinny.
Yeah, and so it's not breaking, but it wasn't 40 foot because I work on it would have been like a little bit smaller than that. It wasn't a big boat.
Like 20-something.
And so anyway, we're in this tinny and obviously the swell's not breaking, but we were getting to the top of the wave and you could see down and just see where you were going. It was full on. All of our
20
items.
Foot up, 20 foot down.
20 foot down and all of our clothing, everything that was on that boat, it was going down. My friend's uncle that owned the boat, and believe it or not, his house had burnt down in a fire a couple of years before that or something. And so he had a whole heap of cash that he had shown us the night before, just being like, look at what this amount of cash looks like. It was like 70 grand or 100 grand. and he had locked it away in a cabinet above him with a key. And he said since that he had never done that before. And so he locks it. So when the boat's going down, of course, he couldn't find the key.
Oh my
So
God.
not only had his house burnt down 2 years before that or a year before that, so that's why he bought a boat.
Yeah.
Because he's like, fuck, it's not going to burn down, is it? I know, right? And so he's locked all that money away. He's watching his boat go down, and there's I don't know, like if you don't know sailors and things, there's a common, I guess, ideology that if your boat is going down, then the captain goes down with it.
Goes down with the ship.
And he was trying to, and obviously the family was like, no, you're coming. So my friend's dad had to swim back onto the boat, which is really dangerous to do when a boat is sinking. It causes a
whirlpool.
a whirlpool, and
it's probably still running.
Essentially, it's like a black hole. It
Yeah.
sinks everything that's in it. So Colin gets on the boat and he's grabbing him, and I'm watching my mum's like, I know this sounds really shit, but like expensive overnight bag that I remember her being like, don't fuck it up, like before I left. I literally have this vision of it like floating away, and I was like, oh, mum's going to be so mad at me.
Like a Rose moment of the Titanic.
And I remember seeing it float away.
The
Anyway.
Mimco overnight bag. You got mum from Mother's Day 6 years ago.
And so all of our stuff is going. This poor guy's boat is going down, and we were in that swell in that tinny for 6 or 7 hours. So we called Mayday when we were going down.
Yeah.
But if the weather is that severe, which there was water tornadoes. Like it's like something out of Jaws. There was fish flying in these water tornadoes. I'm like, am I okay? Or I was like,
Am I hallucinating?
yeah, is that acid? Did I have acid? And anyway, so we're sitting there for 6 or 7 hours. We'd called Mayday, but they couldn't get out. And a trawler that was changing their course from Tasmania, I think they were heading to their destination. They had to turn around. The trawler ended up seeing us out of. He was watching cricket on a
Just going through 20-foot seas and saw you at the corner of his eye.
legit, right? Legit.
Watching the cricket.
Watching cricket in the corner. And it was like not even 30 centimeter screen, like probably 20 centimeters, this little TV. And I was wearing this Supre, shout out to Supre. He was wearing a bright pink Supre shirt. He reckons he saw some colors bobbing in the water. Saw it was obviously us. We're waving our hands and whatnot. This is after 6 hours. I was so cooked, so sunburnt, like absolutely the definition of a salty sea
You would have
dog.
been wet.
Weathered as,
scared as shit.
looking absolutely like 2 out of 10, if that. And at the best of times, I reckon I'm pushing a solid 4. This was like -1. And he sees us and they pick us up, and I shit you not, it was like a movie where they were like, you wouldn't expect trawler men to be nice and fit looking. I don't know whether I was just really dehydrated, but I just remember their muscles like throwing this rope ladder down, picking us up. And yeah, they took us back to Bundaberg with the front page of the newspaper. Had to go to Coles and like Big W and buy like thongs and all new clothes and go stay at my friend's farm.
And the
for a
boat
week.
sunk, like fully sunk?
Yeah, he never found it. And so what
Did he get
happened?
his money?
No, so what happens
Insurance?
is if
Surely, no.
No.
something
no proof of the-
happened,
proof of the
something happened
cash.
and it fell through. He's passed away since, but he looked for that boat for years. And what happens is if a diver finds that boat, they can tag it and they can claim anything that's on it. So that money would have still been fine. He got a submarine down there. He got those submarine, those ones that you can go down. Scuba divers, a jet plane, another boat. Nothing.
Never
Real
found it.
deep. You said it's real deep.
Yeah,
And-
it's super, like it's like a
It's like a
notori-
trench.
Yeah, it's like a big trench in the ocean. It's like notorious where the fish come out of deep water
I
and
don't
you get
remember ever being like
get-
feeling rattled for you.
yeah, you get big fish down there. That's a traumatic experience.
But I went to work on
Explains a
boats
little bit.
after that.
Bloody hell! All right, that was deep.
Literally
Literally
I'll keep mine a bit shorter, eh?
Oh, sorry. Fuck. Love a story.
deep in the ocean and deep in sentiment. All right, here we go.
Righty tighty. Never have I ever had a terrifying experience during an overseas holiday.
Oh.
I have. It wasn't a holiday, but I was living in Bali a couple of years ago.
Oh my God, we did it. I had a story last week and it was in Bali as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That place is fucked now. I don't know what's happened to it. It's
This is
Give it to me.
tapped.
Give me this story.
So we, next to our villa, there was a laneway, and you could only, it was probably about, 800 meters long, but you'd only fit one car going either way. So the local etiquette was if you could see a car coming the other way, you would wait and let the car go. Anyways, we were halfway down, another car, like a black van in tints, came, and we're going like, go back, go back. We were in a taxi. It was my husband and my two of my three kids. We're like, go back, and he wouldn't. He staunched and just went faster coming towards us. So we're in the middle of this laneway. Again, the common etiquette would be for him to reverse
and then you guys go through.
and then us go through, but he wouldn't. So there was like a Mexican standoff for probably about 5 minutes. Now, taxi driver was going, what is he doing? What is he doing? He gets out of the car with a machete and comes into our taxi with a machete, and he's like going like this at my kids and stuff. So the taxi driver in my car ended up getting out of the taxi and just bailed down the.
Just ran.
He just ran. He just fucking left us there.
Left you in the taxi.
Yeah. So my husband, we were in the back seat. My husband jumped in the front seat and started driving us off. Tried to reverse all the way up, couldn't reverse, and then he's not a big guy, but he's like covered in tattoos and stuff, my husband. So I think he just thought, well, fuck, what am I going to, like, there's nothing I can do. This guy's coming at us with the kids. We'd locked the doors by that stage, but he was like trying to get in all the doors and stuff.
Maya was screaming.
Yeah, my daughter was like 13 at
kids
the
would have
time.
been
She's
terrified.
screaming. I've got a
Blood-curdling
6-year-old as
scream,
well. He was like 3 or 4. He was, blood curdling screaming. Because it was one of those like big rice cutter things.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like banging on the doors and stuff. So my husband ended up, getting in the car, and he got out of the car and was like, come on. And the other guy got,
Tane
got out of the car because he was
Your
like,
husband got out of the car.
yeah. He was like, what the fuck else am I going to do? He's like, come on. And as he was doing that, the guy with the machete got back in his van and reversed and went back out. So my husband was driving the car, and then we get out of the laneway and Tane's like driving to our villa going, what the fuck do I do with this taxi? And then as we're driving to our villa, I see the fucking taxi driver. He comes out of this bush and we're like, get in. And we open the door and he jumps in and we drive off like fucking James
Your husband's
Bonding
still
it.
driving it this time? Like just driving the taxi driver
Yeah.
around.
Oh my gosh, if my husband got out and was like, come on, I would just be like,
I was like,
where are we
what the
booking
fuck
the
are you
hotel for
doing,
tonight?
Tane? You
Be like, that
what
is
are
the
you
biggest
doing?
turn
He's
on
like,
in the
what else are
world.
we going to do? This guy's not
I'd be like, are you kidding?
Yeah. So that was it.
Holy shit. That's
Yeah.
hectic.
Did you get a free trip? Free ride?
Yeah,
Was
pretty
the
sure.
Was the meter still running? Fuck, over there, the meter would still be running.
Imagine if he's like,
He's
oh
like,
yeah,
that'd
sorry.
be 2,100 rupees, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
Wow.
well, deep and gnarly. Fucking hell. Oh,
Unsuspecting
I think
Lord.
you might have another argument on you. Just hold on to this story. Watch
Yeah,
yourself.
look out.
How to turn Anna on. Someone get a machete.
Am I right? Like, am I right? I'm sure I'm right. Like, that's pretty
Yeah,
attractive.
Kirsten agrees. She's
Yeah,
over here
well, I guess
clapping.
in hindsight, at the time it wasn't. I was just like, you're fucking mad.
Fucking oath. Especially
But,
when
you know,
Is
there's a
Anna
guy
just
with a machete
Yeah,
at
when-
your kids.
honestly,
What are you
when
going to
it's- When
do?
it's your family and it's your kid,
Yeah,
I fully
100%.
understand that adrenaline kicks in, and
Yeah.
if you think you stand a chance, you go for it.
Yeah.
100%.
And if Anna was there, she would have got out the car herself.
Slowly.
I can't tell whether you would have gone, come on, or being like,
Come on,
Too
come
much
on.
visual. I'm like, massive guys.
we're trying
yeah.
to come on with you, too, yeah.
That off-air chatter.
Staunching him. What's next for you guys? What, like, you've Cedar and Stone's gone, it's moved on. What's next? Like, we've got Nectar, it's running. You guys have stepped back a little bit from that, from actually making the sandwiches and
Yeah.
making the juices and stuff. Having a bit of
You
a
got to
break.
work tomorrow.
So-
I just got my shift covered.
Because it's almost been a year.
Yeah, it'll be here in August.
You finally got the sandwich count up.
29,501 sandwiches since
mad.
August 13th, I think it was, or something. 27th.
That's bloody cool.
66,000 coffees.
66,000 coffees, 30-something thousand
A lot of
juices.
sourdough.
That's a lot of sourdough. And most of it has gone to my chin.
Next, we're looking.
Are we going to say it?
Yeah, we're going to say it. We're in the middle of looking for a space for we've got a nan who's 97 and she still, to this day, lives by
Shout out,
herself.
Nan.
Yeah.
In
100%.
Tasmania?
Favorite
No,
person
she's
in the
here.
world.
It's a different nan.
Oh, other
She,
Nan. Sorry.
other
Sorry.
nan.
Sorry, Tassie
She's
Nan.
called Little
You're not
Nan
getting
because
one.
she's really small.
I'll
Anyway,
get one too.
she's beautiful. I don't think. Have you ever seen her without her face on? I've never seen her with
She's
without
just-
being done up. The day I always say to her, the day that we come around to your place and you're not done up is when we know that something's wrong. She's 96 this year or 97 this year. She still reads like 20 books a week. So we thought we would open a bookshop / espresso bar / red wine bar.
Called
Cool.
Patricia's.
Called
after
Patricia's,
her.
that's her name. So
Sick.
we're
We've
just
done
looking
the
for
logo
the right
in her
venue.
handwriting, in her how she signs.
Like a signature, or like
Yeah.
not a signature,
Yeah,
but like a
her,
name,
yeah.
I get teary when I talk about it. She's just the best person
She's so
ever.
cute.
That's
Like,
so
love
cool.
her. And if we can, immortalize her in a way, it would be she loves her wine and she loves her books. She just has a stack of books every time you go over. And there's such a good niche for that right now. I would love nothing more than to go drink red wine and have,
there's
some
something
nice
about
coffee
books.
table books. And we've also, we've got a book that we're bringing out, which is for her as well. And just to be able to flick through that and
That's cool. You guys are always moving, doing something.
Yeah, I know. It kind of gets tiring.
What would you do if you stopped though?
No, we don't.
I get bored on my days off, like literally.
She doesn't drink. I drink, so I just get hungover.
You've got 3 kids as well. Like that's
Yeah.
like how old?
No.
How old's the youngest?
Got 6, 14 and 17.
Fuck, I've got one that's 3 and it fucking hell.
Yeah, you wait till they get to 17.
I'm done. One and done. Thank you very much. No more. What and that? Are you looking in specific areas, or you got like
Yeah, I think
You don't
down
have
on
to
the
tell me.
Tweed somewhere.
Yeah.
We're just looking for something with character, which is pretty hard to come by on the Gold Coast or Tweed. So
You
maybe
have to
like
go,
an old
really
house
far
or
down
We went to Murbar for an inspection the other day, which was cool, but it just,
yeah.
we're just trying to figure out. It's another thing that you have to obviously decide with businesses is foot traffic, or, things like this, foot traffic or destination. And it's a really hard decision, but
I'm sure you'll find somewhere. I'm sure you
We
got a
will.
couple locations.
We've got a
scouting out
couple up our sleeve.
couple up your sleeve. And then, and are you doing this down to Mars?
yeah, it's just a little side fun gig, I guess.
It's like a style. You do like a bit of like photo shoot style.
Styling and
bits
art
pieces.
direction, yeah. So my beautiful good friend Troy Frier, who's a photographer, he is incredible. Love you, Troy, if you're listening. He saw that I had a creative eye in some of our shoots that we did and kind of catapulted me into doing a few things, I guess.
Cool.
Got me on a really cool music video a couple of months ago with the Riot Boys, and yeah, since there it kind of just took off a little bit, to be honest. I just do it in my spare time. Kate came and did the Riot video with us, and yeah, it's more of just a passion, but yeah,
Something fun to keep the
Something
creative
fun.
edge on.
exactly.
When you're sick of making sandwiches.
Yeah, it would
That's
be good
it.
if one of us was an accountant or something.
You might not argue as much. You'll be like, well, you can't spend
I
this.
will
for a
always
week.
fucking argue.
That is a given.
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming in. I
Thanks for
really
having
like
us.
obviously I've known Anna for a long time, but like I've known you guys have worked on your business. Like Anna, I think when we had the shop in James Street, you came in and you were telling me about like the Cedar and Stone thing that you're doing. Your sister was making everything in the backyard. So it's really nice to see where it started to where it is now and where you guys
Yeah.
are going and all the fun things you've done in between. And
Thank you.
thank you for sharing your advice and your
I don't know
like,
if
all-
it's advice.
like so many people just have no idea about
Yeah,
any of
it's
these
true, hey.
any of these kind of things. Like
Yep.
and they just don't you wish you had somebody to give you advice before you
100%.
Yeah.
made those choices? Like
For sure.
that's what it's all about. Passing on, like not in competition, it's all about collaboration and
100%.
doing fun things. So share that advice. People love it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Legends.
Thank you for coming in. Where can people find you? Now, or you can Cedar and Stone is obviously on Instagram.
Cedar and Stone, Cedar and Stone's on Instagram. The
Yep.
James Street shop still exists,
Yep.
but we renamed it before we sold it. So that's
Miso,
called
miso. And one of our girls.
That's still your shop?
No, we
No.
sold
So
it,
it's-
and one of our girls bought it.
that worked at the
How
shop.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so she's doing really well now.
That's awesome.
But otherwise, you can find us at Nectar Juice House on Instagram or
Come down to Cabot. If you're on the Gold Coast or
Yeah,
Tweed
take
Coast.
a road trip, all
take
that
a-
15 minutes
Take a
away.
road trip down. Take a road trip down to Nectar.
Take a date.
yeah.
Take a
Are you going
date.
to take me on a date, Tommy?
Absolutely. I'll pick you up. Free sandwiches.
Free sandwich?
Oh,
All right,
baby.
we
I'll
can do
run at you
that.
with a machete. We'll seal the deal.
Let's go.
Thanks,
Nectar Juice
guys.
House. What's your Instagram, Anna?
Anna_Bobana, baby.
Anna Babana. Okay. Do you have Instagram?
Negative.
Just too
Follow
old.
Kate at Nectar Juice House. Or find her at the sandwich bar when she's making the juice. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I really do appreciate it. And I love hearing these stories and love you guys giving advice. So thank you
we
so
love
much.
you guys.
Thank
Come
you.
Cheers. That's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, leave a review. Go show the Shake Up some love and stay connected. Don't forget you can watch all of our episodes on YouTube. Also, jump over to our Shake Up Cocktail Gang Facebook page where you can find out who's coming up on the podcast. And if you've got questions for them, I'll ask the bloody questions. You can also use the code SHAKEUP for 10% off on mrconsistent.com.au. Thank you so much for listening. And just remember, shit that's fresh.